So imagine you are just, walking out into your garden on a normal morning.
Right.
You take a simple copper cup of water, you pour it over a stone, and someone tells you that you didn't just perform a quiet, ancient religious ritual.
Yeah, that would be a surprise.
Right. Imagine being told you literally just performed vital maintenance on a cosmic drive belt that is powering the entire Milky Way galaxy.
It sounds absolutely insane.
It really does. I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a science fiction novel, honestly.
Oh, completely.
But the stack of sources we are diving into for today's deep dive is asking us to do exactly that. We are taking something deeply familiar to millions of people, right? The symbols of the Shivling and the Shivlingi.
Yes.
And we are completely stripping away the assumption that these are just, mythological symbols or stone idols.
And what's fascinating here is that it is a radical shift in perspective. What our research today is doing is taking ancient cosmology and translating it into literal mechanics.
Mechanics, like actual machines.
Yeah. Exactly. The text does not just vaguely state that these symbols are, sacred or holy. It actually provides a highly technical, functional schematic.
Wow.
Yeah, we are looking at a blueprint that traces a tangible prana, which is like a raw life force energy, from the absolute inception of the universe.
So we're going all the way back to the beginning.
All the way. It maps the flow of this energy through massive celestial structures and then brings it all the way down to the literal physics of that single drop of water falling from your hands.
And that right there is our mission for today. We are going to track that exact flow of energy. We want to figure out how these ancient sources describe the engineering of our solar system.
It is quite the journey.
I mean, to understand the power grid that you and I are plugged into right now, we really have to start at the power plant.
Right, you have to find the source.
Exactly. So where is this massive cosmic energy actually being generated? Because according to these documents, it is definitely not local.
Oh, far from it. The genesis of the Shivling does not happen on Earth. It does not even happen within the borders of our Milky Way.
Wait, really? It is outside the galaxy?
Yes, it is forged in the overarching greater universe. To really grasp this, the text says we have to look at three ultimate foundational forces: Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva.
Okay, the classic trio.
Right, but rather than picturing these as, deities sitting in the clouds somewhere, think of them as fundamental cosmic physics.
Oh, I like that. So physics rather than figures.
Exactly. Brahma is the force of creation, Vishnu is the force of sustenance, and Shiva is the force of transformation, or like finality.
Okay, that makes sense.
And when these three overarching forces align, the text explains that the Shiva element, that transformative force, becomes the dominant vector.
The dominant vector, so it starts moving.
Yes, it begins to move with incredible momentum, and this trajectory, this specific directional flow of supreme energy, acts as a ning.
And Lingley literally translates to a mark or a sign,
Sure.
right?
Yes, a mark, a sign, or a definitive axis. That established axis is what actually forms the Shivling.
Okay, let me unpack this for a second because I want to make sure I'm visualizing this correctly. We are not talking about a giant physical stone object floating in deep space.
No, definitely not.
We're talking about a directional vector of energy. It is like the ultimate live wire being laid down across the void of space.
That is an excellent way to conceptualize it. It is the establishment of a massive conduit.
A cosmic wire.
Right. But, a wire alone doesn't really do much without electricity running through it.
Fair point.
So simultaneously, as this primary axis forms, there is a counterpart. The fundamental female energies of the universe, which are Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Shakti, they also merge.
Oh, so both sides are assembling at the same time.
Exactly. And in this merged state, Shakti, which represents pure, active power, takes the dominant role. This immense Shakti energy then completely permeates and intertwines with the Shivling axis.
I see. So the Shivling is the conduit, the wire itself, and the Shakti is the massive voltage surging right through it.
You just got it perfectly.
It is almost like the scaffolding of a newly born universe.
Oh.
Like a massive cosmic Big Bang, where the infinite supreme soul scatters out into the void. And this energized axis reaches out to bind it all together.
That is exactly the scale the text is talking about.
But how is that massive structure actually organized? I mean, it can't just be a chaotic web of wires floating around, right?
No, it is highly organized. And the sources use a very specific organic metaphor to describe the layout.
Organic.
Yeah. They ask us to envision the entire structure of the universe as an upside-down tree.
An upside-down tree. Okay, so where are the roots of this cosmic tree?
Well, the roots are situated at the absolute highest dimensional point. It is a supreme location referred to as Golok. Sometimes it is also referred to as Krishna.
Okay, so Golok is the top, the roots.
Right. This is the central hub where that initial alignment of forces we just talked about takes place.
Got it.
And from those invisible divine roots, the immense prana energy flows straight down into the trunk of the tree.
So what makes up the trunk then?
The trunk is made up of massive, overarching cosmic dimensions. The text names specific realms like Tapaloka, Janaloka, and Maharloka.
Okay, so think of those as the primary arterial highways of the universe.
Exactly.
And I assume those highways don't just stop. They have to deliver that sap somewhere, right?
Right. So as the energy travels down through the lowest section of that main trunk, as it exits Maharloka, it violently splinters.
Splinters into branches.
Yes, the trunk breaks into branches, and those branches split into billions of tiny twigs.
And what are the twigs?
Hanging off those twigs are clusters of galaxies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. In this staggering architectural model, our entire Milky Way galaxy, with all its stars, planets, and black holes, is nothing more than a single microscopic leaf hanging on one of those twigs.
Wait, hold on a second.
Yeah.
You were giving me major metaphor whiplash here. Well, a second ago, we were talking about an organic growing tree
Right.
with roots and sap.
Right.
But a galaxy operates on rigid physics, gravity, orbital mechanics, radiation. How can these sources possibly reconcile an organic biological tree with the cold mechanical reality of space? Those are fundamentally opposite concepts.
It is a brilliant question, and it is exactly where the sources make a massive conceptual pivot.
Okay, lay on me.
The tree metaphor is only used to describe the vast supply lines outside our galaxy.
Oh, I see.
Right. But once that energy crosses the threshold into our specific galaxy,
Right.
once we zoom in on our individual leaf, the metaphor completely flips from biology to industrial engineering.
Industrial engineering. So it stops being a leaf.
Yes. The internal structure of the galaxy is suddenly described as a mechanical egg.
A mechanical egg. Okay, so we have zoomed in on the leaf and realized it is actually a clockwork machine.
Precisely. Because, like you said, a galaxy requires rigid mechanics. Inside this egg, there are numerous realms or lokas. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, I want you to think of every single planetary system and dimension within our galaxy as a massive interlocking gear in a complex engine.
Okay, I am picturing an impossibly large, intricate clockwork mechanism floating in the vacuum of space. Millions of gears spinning in the dark.
But here's the engineering problem. Gears cannot turn themselves.
Right, they need a motor.
And if they are floating in space, they need something to bind them, to transfer momentum from one gear to the next. Otherwise, the orbits decay, the gravity fails, and the system collapses.
So what binds them together?
The sources state that the Shivling energy entering our galaxy acts as the main mechanical drive belt.
The drive belt, wow.
Yes. It literally wraps around all these gears, binding the locus together and drives the rotation, keeping the entire cosmic machine functioning in perfect synchronization.
See, here's where it gets really interesting to me. We are taking esoteric terms like divine energy and giving them a brutally tangible, functional job. It is telling the listener, do not think of this energy as a glowing cloud of mysticism. Think of it as the serpentine belt under the hood of your car.
That is a perfect analogy.
Because if the belt snaps, the alternator stops, the water pump fails, and the engine dies. Without this cosmic drive belt, the entire galaxy just seizes up.
Right. It completely demystifies the cosmos by grounding metaphysical concepts into strict mechanical physics.
Okay, but a machine that size still needs a fuel intake.
Yeah, it does.
If our galaxy is an engine, where is the massive intake valve pulling this sap from the upside-down tree outside? How does the fuel actually enter?
The input valve is a highly specific location called Druvloka.
Druvloka.
Yes, and the explicit correlation made here in the text is astonishing. It directly equates Druvloka with a black hole.
A black hole? Wow.
Yeah.
Actually, that makes terrifying sense.
Yeah.
It is using the extreme gravitational funnel of a black hole to rip that raw energy out of the universal supply line and drag it into our mechanical egg. So the raw power comes screaming through the black hole. Then what? It doesn't just splash around randomly, right? It needs to be routed somewhere.
Right. It is immediately captured by a structure known as the Sushumna chakra.
The Sushumna chakra.
Yes. This acts as the main distribution hub for our galaxy. And the shape of this hub is incredibly specific. It is described as a giant cosmic dolphin.
A dolphin?
Yes, a dolphin.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to visualize this grand mechanical space architecture, and suddenly Flipper is floating through the Milky Way. Why a dolphin of all things? That feels like we are slipping back into mythology.
It sounds like it until you consider fluid dynamics.
Fluid dynamics in space.
Think about what a dolphin actually is. It is a highly aerodynamic, hydrodynamic shape designed to take kinetic energy and cut through a resistant medium with zero friction.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Right. Gravitational waves and dense energy streams moving through the localized vacuum of space require a streamlined distribution hub.
So the shape of a dolphin is nature's perfect blueprint for directional energy processing.
Exactly. And inside this highly streamlined hub, there are processing nodes, which the text says are represented by 27 specific constellations. And these nodes handle the incoming surge. Also, this chakra houses the realms of deities, yakshas, and gandharvas.
Okay, so it is less about a literal animal and more about the physics of the shape.
Correct.
It is a cosmic router designed for maximum efficiency. So what exactly is it routing?
This is where the single raw energy from the black hole hits a prism and splits. The hub executes what we can call the Great Divide.
The Great Divide.
The incoming power is separated into two distinct, highly specialized streams because, well, life on Earth requires a delicate binary to exist.
The binary system. Let's call them Stream A and Stream B to keep it straight.
Good idea. Let's track the wiring.
Where does Stream A go?
Stream A is the Shivling stream, which is sometimes called the Pranadhara.
Pranadhara.
Right. This stream is entirely dominant in what is categorized as the male element, or Purush.
Purush. Okay, what does that mean practically?
Think of Purush as the raw structural foundation. It is the heavy driving force, low in the nature element, but high in structure.
Yeah.
Because of its density, it naturally travels through the lower foundational lokas of that dolphin-shaped hub.
Makes sense. Heavier things sink.
Exactly. It routes directly to the mouth of the hub where it locks into the sun loka.
So it goes straight to the sun.
Yes. From the sun, it moves through heaven and then descends to Earth, entering strictly through a pathway called the sun gate.
The sun gate.
And once it hits Earth, it heavily anchors itself to solid land.
So the solid ground beneath our feet, the sheer structural density of the Earth, is powered by this solar male structural energy. Got it.
Correct.
What about Stream B, the counterpart?
Stream B is the Shivlingi stream, or the Pranashaktidhara.
Pranashaktidhara.
Yes, and it is the exact polar opposite of Stream A. It is completely dominant in the nature element, known as Prakriti. It's very low in the male element.
So Stream A is the rigid structural foundation.
Stream B is the dynamic vibration, the diversity, the fluid motion of nature.
I love that contrast.
Because it is a lighter vibratory energy, it takes the high road, it travels through the upper constellation lokas of the hub.
Up above Stream A.
Right. It also routes to the mouth, but it locks into the moon loka instead of the sun. From the moon, it moves through Pitraloka and descends to Earth through the moon gate. And instead of landing on solid ground, it anchors itself entirely in water.
I want to pause here because this brings it right to the listener's front door.
How so?
When you, the listener, go to the beach and you feel the baking hot sun on the solid sand.
Yeah.
And then you feel the cool, fluid motion of the ocean water. You are literally standing at the exact collision point of these two cosmic streams.
You are. You are observing the binary code of the universe playing out in real time.
That is just incredible.
But there is a crucial failsafe built into this system, a very fascinating detail from the source text.
What is that?
Even though Stream B takes the lunar route and Stream A takes the solar route, the central anchor for both streams entering our physical world is actually the sun.
Wait, both of them?
Yes. The text explicitly notes that for both streams, the divine element, the Deyiv, ultimately connects to Earth's land and water through the medium of the sun.
Oh, wow. So the sun acts as the ultimate master router. It is pulling down both the structural packets and the vibratory packets and facilitating the final download to our planet.
Exactly. It's the cosmic anchor. But bringing that much raw galactic power into a localized environment presents a massive hazard.
A hazard.
Well, the overarching realm of Earth is referred to as Mitiloka, the mortal realm.
Right. And mortal realms are fragile. If you pump unfiltered power from a black hole directly into a fragile ecosystem, it doesn't sustain life, it vaporizes it.
Precisely. If that heavy, driving Purush energy came blazing down from the sun unregulated, the mortal realm would burn out instantly.
So it needs a filter.
It requires a governor. It needs a step-down transformer to reduce the voltage before it hits us.
Oh, like those gray electrical boxes you see on telephone poles in your neighborhood.
Yes.
They take the massive voltage from the power plant
Yeah.
and step it down so it doesn't blow up every appliance in your house.
That is the perfect analogy. And
Yeah.
the entity acting as that transformer is Shankar.
Shankar.
Yes. The sources identify Shankar as the presiding force, the ruler of this mortal realm.
Okay, so what does Shankar do exactly?
Shankar catches this incoming raw prana from the sun. He holds it, stabilizes the frequency, and directs its flow safely into the environment so the mortal world can keep functioning.
He manages the local grid.
Exactly. It is because of this specific, crucial mechanical action, the managing of the cosmic flow, that Shankar is known as Shiva.
Oh, I see.
Right. He is the active operator of the localized system.
Okay, this is the moment where all the dominoes fall. We have traced this massive mechanism from the roots of the universe.
The upside-down tree.
Right. Down through a black hole, split through the sun and the moon by a cosmic dolphin, stepped down by a cosmic transformer, and anchored into the land and water on Earth.
We followed the entire schematic.
So what does this all mean for the listeners standing in their garden or visiting a temple today? How do we actually interact with this impossible machinery?
Well, the sources say we interact with it every day. We do it through what we mistakenly call rituals.
Rituals, like pouring the water.
Yes, this is where the physical practice of offering water comes in. For thousands of years, millions of people have poured water onto a physical stone shivling and offered water up to the sun.
And we usually just label this as devotion or mythology or tradition.
But based on everything we've uncovered in the text, they aren't just praying to a rock. They are operating technology.
They are actively closing a circuit.
Exactly. Think about the components based on what we just discussed. The physical stone of the shivling represents that rigid, male, structural drive belt of raw energy anchored in the land.
Stream A.
Right. And the water represents the lunar, female, vibratory Prakriti energy. Stream B.
Stream B. So by physically taking the water and pouring it over the stone.
A human being is manually mimicking the cosmic design. You are actively merging the drive belt with the vibration. You are recreating the exact balance that sustains the galaxy.
You are literally lubricating the cosmic gears. You are bringing the two isolated streams back together to ensure the engine keeps running.
That is exactly what the source text is conveying.
And the sources draw a sharp line between pouring water on the physical stone versus pouring it to the sun, right? There's a distinction there.
A very clear distinction because you are interacting with different parts of the network.
Okay, break that down for me.
When you pour water on the physical, concrete form of the shivling on Earth, you are satisfying Shankar.
The local operator.
Exactly. You are performing maintenance on the local step-down transformer. You are helping the operator manage the physical, tangible flow of life in the mortal realm.
But what happens when you pour water out as an offering to the sun? The text calls the sun the formless, abstract shivling, right?
Right. When you offer water to the sun, you are bypassing the local hardware completely. You are interacting with the formless source.
So you aren't dealing with Shankar anymore.
No, you are satisfying the daiv, the divine.
Yeah.
You are connecting directly with the pure, unfiltered element that orchestrates the entire massive system from above.
You are pinging the remote cloud server directly.
That is a great way to put it.
It is just brilliant. It completely rewrites our understanding of history and these ancient practices. These ancient cultures weren't just, primitive societies making up stories about the weather to feel safe.
Far from it.
They were passing down a highly sophisticated physics manual, a literal schematic of the solar system, wrapped in a language and a ritual that they could preserve for millennia.
And that is really the ultimate summary here. This raises such an important point from the text.
Which is?
The universe is a delicate, perfectly engineered binary. The shivling is the main cosmic belt supplying raw energy.
The power.
Yes. While a shivlingi is the prana shakti that brings vibration, motion, and diversity to that energy.
Because you cannot have just raw power.
Yeah.
Right. Power alone is just a static, heavy spinning wheel.
Exactly. And you cannot have just vibration because vibration without structure just dissipates into chaos.
So they have to work together.
The drive belt and the vibration must merge. Life on Earth, every blade of grass, every breath we take, the very fact that we exist to have this conversation is the byproduct of that continuous, precise merging.
Man, it is just a staggering shift in perspective. To wrap this up, I really want to thank you, the listener, for joining us on this incredible conceptual journey today. We went from the massive scale of ancient cosmic forces in the invisible roots of the universe, all the way down to the water flowing right here on Earth.
It's a lot to take in, but it's
It
fascinating.
really is. And we want to leave you with a final, very tangible thought today, something to ponder on your own.
Definitely.
The next time you're washing your hands or watering a plant, or just holding a simple glass of cold water, realize what you are actually holding.
You aren't just holding a liquid.
No. According to this vast cosmic somatic, you are holding the lunar vibration of the universe itself. And when that water hits the ground, you are closing a circuit that started billions of light years away in a black hole.
You are standing right in the direct center of a massive, perfectly balanced machine.
Exactly. What if every simple physical action we take isn't just happening in isolation? What if it is a literal technological mirror of giant gears turning in a distant galaxy? The machinery, it turns out, is right in your hands.